This is Old Line Farmer Radio, a Maryland Farm Bureau production, helping you achieve your best farm future.
Hello, welcome back to Old Line Farmer Radio. We are taking this show on the road. We are here in beautiful Queen Anne's County for the Maryland Commodity Classic. I'm Jeb Burchett, Communications Director at Maryland Farm Bureau. I'm here with
Kendall Abrazizi
and
Kara Hutchison.
And Kara, can you tell us a little bit about what this whole event's about?
The Maryland Commodity Classic is an annual event put on by the Maryland Grain Producers Utilization Board, where they're able to showcase some of the research that they and the Maryland Soybean Board have been able to fund with their checkoff dollars, and also bring together all the grain producers and industry relations people at one large event.
That's awesome. Let's go talk to some folks to find out, what really makes the grain industry in Maryland special.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Let's go.
Maryland's farms grow more than food. They grow community, tradition, and a future worth protecting. But our farmers face rising costs, land loss, and policy threats every year. Maryland Farm Bureau fights back, securing tax relief, protecting farmland, and being a steadfast voice for our hardworking farmers. And anyone can join. You don't have to farm to stand with the people who do. Together, let's create Maryland's best farm future.
All right, welcome back to Old Line Farmer Radio. I'm here at Maryland Commodity Classic with Maryland Grain Producers Association and Utilization Board Executive Director Lindsay Thompson. Hey Lindsay, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about the event and what goes into it and what the board does?
Absolutely. So we're here at the 27th Annual Maryland Commodity Classic. It is the annual meeting for the Maryland Grain Producers as well as the Maryland Soybean Board. And it's our way of getting the community of grain producers and soybean farmers together with our allied industry partners like Maryland Farm Bureau and our sponsors, and then also showcasing all of the research and grant projects that we fund with our checkoff program.
Oh, that's awesome. Could you tell us a little bit about that checkoff program?
Sure. So Maryland has a grain checkoff program, and then of course you have the federal soybean checkoff program that's run by Danielle Bauer with the Maryland Soybean Board, and we utilize those funds. They are farmer dollars, and the farmers decide what grants are going to be funded. So we do things like research on nutrient management and different wheat varieties. We also do market development projects with the U.S. Grains Council to promote the use of U.S. corn and wheat and barley. And we also do educational projects. So a lot of the extension projects that you see, like Kids Growing with Grains, are funded by Maryland Grain Producers. And one of our favorite things is the Maryland Public Television Maryland Farm and Harvest, of which Maryland Grain Producers is the primary sponsor.
Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like farmer dollars stay plenty busy with you guys.
Absolutely.
So Maryland Grain Producers also does a little bit of advocating for our farmers here in Maryland. Could you tell us some of the policy issues that they really focus on to make sure they can continue to expand this industry?
Maryland Grain Producers Association is our membership organization, and so those membership dollars go towards the work that we do in Annapolis as well as Washington, D.C. So checkoff funds cannot be used for lobbying. So that's why those membership dollars are really important. And so some of the issues that I've been working on in Annapolis over the last couple of years that are really important to farmers would be things like land use and conversion of farmland to solar, as well as pesticide issues and maintaining our farmers' ability to utilize federally approved pesticides. And then the last one that I would just probably mention would be funding for our conservation programs, including the land preservation as well as the cover crop program.
Oh, that's awesome. It's really incredible to see what these organizations can do for our farmers. Is there anything else that you'd want to share with our listeners about what, Grain Producers does, Soybean Board, and anything about Classic?
So first of all, we'd like everyone to come out to Commodity Classic. I say it's one of the best places to meet all of the people involved in Maryland grain production. The other thing that I would say is we talked a little bit about policy, and I would really encourage all of the Maryland farmers to make sure that they know their state and local legislators. It's one thing for myself and people like Tyler Huff, the lobbyist for Farm Bureau, to be in Annapolis every day, but these people really want to hear from their constituents. So I would encourage all of the listeners, especially the farmers, to make contact with their state legislators, invite them out to the farm, put them in the combine. Legislators love big equipment, right? Because non-farmers love big farm equipment. and just keep that connection going so that way when you do need something during legislative session, they're more likely to pick up your phone call.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast with us, and catch Justin Brendel, the Maryland Grain Producers Association President, with Kendall Abrazizi next.
Hi everybody, my name is Kendall Abrazizi, Regional Field Manager for Maryland Farm Bureau. Today we have a special guest with us. I'm excited to introduce Justin Brendel, President of the Maryland Grain Producers. Justin, can you give us a little bit of your background and kind of what you're here for today?
Okay, my background is I am a Western Shore person, not an Eastern Shore person,
Me too.
Unfortunately. Okay, well that's okay. Sometimes we're not really well received over here, but they're stuck with me regardless. So my background, my family has a multi-generational farm in Howard County in Woodbine, and I grew up in it and continue to do it today, grain and livestock. And it's not the 100% of what I do, but it's the majority of what we represent here. So, but that's my background and continue to stick with it. And right now I'm in my second year as the president of the Grain Producers Association, and we just represent everybody that's raising grain crops, row crops, and oil crops in the state.
That's awesome. How long have you guys been farming in Howard County?
My grandfather started farming in the 30s, and so that long.
Has anything kind of changed in your operation over the years?
Sure. So over that time span through the third generation, which is me, we've not only changed crops and changed crop mixes and amounts of livestock and gone in and out of different things, but we've also diversified. We also farm in Central Illinois, have a grain operation out there, and then livestock went away from our operation for a long time, but now it's started to kind of ramp up again a little bit.
And what are the most prevalent grains that you guys grow?
Corn, soybeans, wheat.
Corn, soybeans, wheat. We hear that a lot in Maryland.
Yeah, you hear that a lot in Maryland, yes.
Awesome. So in your role as president of Maryland Grain Producers, what have you kind of heard and noticed throughout the years in your tenure?
So the thing that makes Maryland unique in the grain world and in the ag world is the fact that we are really on the cutting edge when it comes to a lot of the political issues that come up revolving around agriculture. So anything involving environment especially, we are on the cutting edge of it, and it makes our position and our ability to influence legislation in Maryland very, very important, because there's two states in this country that influence environment policy more than any other, California and Maryland, and we're in one of the prime areas to influence policy, and it makes our position as grain producers really important.
Yeah, I think geographically you're right. We are in such a unique position, stationed near our nation's capital, as well as what you're talking about with what we're growing and how prevalent our variety of crops are here in Maryland.
Yep.
As we wrap up today, is there anything else that you want our viewers to know about the grain industry in Maryland?
Membership is what drives our organization, and we can only do our lobbying work and our legislative influence with dollars that come from membership. So I just encourage other farmers and other producers in the state, if they're not members, to be members, to contribute that fee every year to be a member of our organization. But it's very, very important. We have a very limited capacity to influence legislation, but it's so incredibly important. We just need to have more people underneath of us.
You're right. Everybody loves to eat. Well, thank you so much, Justin.
Farming and ranching are more than just jobs. They're a way of life. And nobody understands that better than a company that's rooted in agriculture too. We're proud to be the official insurance and financial services provider of select state farm bureaus. We're more than just an insurance company. We're a protection company, driving agricultural efforts that matter to you.
A wise poet once said, "Rain makes corn, corn makes whiskey," and that's why we're here at Commodity Classic, and we're speaking with Scott from Tobacco Barn Distillery. He's a Maryland Farm Bureau member from Hollywood, Maryland, the better Hollywood. What are we drinking today?
So, Jeb, we have here, we call it the Maryland 400 cocktail because we're celebrating Maryland's 400th birthday early.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Cheers to you. We make from corn we grow on our farm in Hollywood, Maryland. So it's just our bourbon, about 5.5-year age bourbon. And then we use a shelf-stable, ultra-high temperature pasteurized dairy from upstate New York. Blend that together. Now this is a cocktail made with our bourbon cream. It has a vanilla vodka, a brown sugar simple syrup my wife makes handmade that's awesome, and espresso. Cheers to you, brother.
Cheers. This is fantastic. This is probably better than my iced coffee that I drink in the morning. Well, we have to wait until the afternoon to drink this type of iced coffee. So we've been here. We've been talking to so many grain farmers today. I think it sometimes gets lost on people, the amazing products that you can make through locally made grain, including whiskey. So tell us a little bit about the genesis of your operation.
Well, we're a small farm in St. Mary's County, 23 and a half acres. And you cannot pay the taxes growing commodity grains on 23 and a half acres. So instead of becoming another housing development or a Dollar General store, we decided to go into value-added agriculture. And we grow corn to make our bourbon. And so, there's a lot of different ways wineries, distilleries, and breweries in Maryland support Maryland farmers. We happen to be a Maryland farmer and a Maryland distillery, but because we grow our grains, plus any other grains we source locally, as do the other distilleries, wineries, and breweries in Maryland. So, as we tell people, by buying our bourbon, you're preserving farmland.
Very well said. And when we talk about, whiskeys and bourbons, people think of regions. People always talk about Kentucky bourbon. But what's that award that you just won?
Well, we were named the #1 farm distillery in America. So there are 2 requirements. You had to be a craft distillery, one of the 3,000, and you had to source 51% of the grains from the state you resided in. So it wasn't for the big billion-dollar corporations, but the other 3,000. So we just won that. Thanks for mentioning that.
Absolutely.
But more importantly, we were on Maryland Farm and Harvest.
Absolutely.
We had them down. I had Al Spoler down drinking my bourbon.
Fantastic. And so, getting back to kind of the agriculture part, why is it important for folks to support their local farmers of all sizes, of all commodities, because they produce some of these great products?
Well, when you get to value-added agriculture, people think of it secondary processing, but just think of the people growing strawberries and other things, because that's hard to do. And there's a lot of little critters like to get on those, but when you buy local, you're helping preserve that farmland, because it's back to preservation of our natural environment. And most farmers look like me today. That's why I had my Future Farmer of America logo on here too, because we're trying to recruit younger and new farmers into doing this, because it's a great avocation. It's not what you think it used to be. The kids today that are farming are using so many new things that we can see out here, we're going to be seeing later here, that makes farming exciting and a way to raise a family in the future.
Very well said. And if you're a fan of espresso martinis,
or bourbon,
beverages, or bourbon, this is the place that you want to be, and it all starts on the farm. Scott, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, you appreciate it.
Thank you.
Wow, what a great time that we're having here at the Maryland Commodity Classic. Thanks for listening to each story on how grain is utilized and important in Maryland.
Kara, what's been your favorite part?
Man, you're putting me on the spot. I really think it's the recognition of the research that's been done and those who have contributed to Maryland's grain industry throughout the years.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Old Line Farmer Radio, a production of Maryland Farm Bureau, produced by Jeb Burchick. Contributions this week from Kendall Abruzzese and Kara Hutchison. Introduction by Hollis Zimmerman. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time on Old Line Farmer Radio.